Hello, welcome to Art Club. I cannot wait to share today's project with you. This project is actually one that I remember doing when I was a kid, and it was an absolute favorite of mine, so I'm so excited to be able to share this project with you guys today. Here is what we're going to need. We're going to need some scissors, a pencil, liquid glue, and as you can see, I found this is actually wax paper to put my glue on, but really anywhere that you could like have a glob of glue. Maybe you've got a special dish you could put that in, or parchment paper, tin foil, just somewhere we can put some glue. And we're going to need some cardboard and of course our little squares of tissue paper. I like to keep mine in a container for that as well, just so they're easy to grab but they're contained and not all over the place. All right. So the first thing that we need to do for this project is think about what is it that we want to create. And we want something kind of simple, not overly intricate or ornate. So something like, maybe you do the letters to your name or your initials. If you've got a really long name, maybe you just want to do your initials. Or even just the first letter of your name. Maybe you do a plant. Or a cute little animal. Once again, nothing too elaborate, something more simple. Maybe a hot air balloon. Really, you can think of anything that you want for this. Just try to make sure that it's not too over the top with lots of details all over the place. So I chose to do a cactus for this. I'm going to show you my start on it. So here's what it's looking like so far. So you can see those tissues are going to be popping up, and this is why we want to make sure it's not overly complicated, keeping it more simple. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. We'll continue with this in just a moment, but first we've got to cut that out. So I'm going to move some of the stuff off to the side here. Once you've decided what you are going to be doing for your project, go ahead and draw it onto your cardboard. Now any cardboard will work for this. You can use, I'm using just a box of cardboard. But you could use like from a cereal box too. That thinner stuff also works great for this. In fact, it's even easier to cut, so not a bad option. Now you guys can use your pencil to draw on it, but just so that it's easier to see on the camera, I'm going to be using a marker. So if I wanted to do like that cactus shape again, just draw that on out. Once again, kind of keeping it simple. Nothing too complicated. Like that. And then of course it's in a pot. So drawing that out. And down and around. You'll notice I also don't want to make it overly huge. I think if you go kind of the size of two of your hands or smaller, that works best for this project. Just because we only have so much tissue, and it does take a little bit of time once we get going here. So once you've got your shape drawn out, go ahead and cut it out. And one of the tricks that I like to use is instead of worrying about all these little like ins and outs right away, I kind of cut like almost like a bubble around it. So I'm hitting the far out edges, but I'm not worried about getting all these little in-between spaces yet. I find when you're working with the full sheet of cardboard, it can be a little bit trickier. So I just kind of cut, like you can see, sort of a bubble around it. And now I'm going to come back and get these spots here. And of course, if at any point in this video, the video's faster than, the speed that you're working at, feel free to just pause or rewind as needed. We all work at different speeds, and we all have different projects that we're working on, so some might take longer than others. And I should also mention, if you need help from your at-home mentor cutting out some of these spaces, don't be afraid to ask, right? Especially cutting cardboard. I know, depending on the scissors you have, it can be a little tricky. So don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Alright, almost done here, putting in those little nooks and crannies. And there we have it. We've got our cactus. So So whenever you're ready and are finished cutting out whatever you've decided on, we will move on to the next step. So our next step is going to be to grab our pencil, and we actually want to use the eraser end of our pencil for this next step. We are going to take, I'm going to just do a practice one on here, and then I'm going to move over to this guy, continue working on that one. So we're going to take a piece of tissue, and you're going to put your pencil eraser kind of in the middle-ish area, and then just sort of fold it up and wrap it around the pencil, sort of like that. Okay, so you can see the erasers right there. Then we're going to dip it into our glue and put it wherever we want it to be on our cardboard, and there you have it. Of course, we'll need to let that dry, but we'll be able to make other ones as we go. So that's the process. Now let's show it in with other paper there as well, so we can see what that looks like. Because obviously we're not just going to put one piece of paper on there, right? We want to have it in conjunction with other ones. So we're just going to keep doing this process over and over, wrapping it around the eraser, then getting glue on it and putting it on in there. And I'll grab another one. You can see I'm doing a mix of green colors for this one. Wrap it around, dip it in the glue. Whoopsies, that one kind of popped off. Sometimes you'll have that. I might need to put that around again. The one piece of tissue basically shoved this piece of tissue off of there. Get a little more glue on. There we go. Once again, wrapping it in the center, wrapping it around, and sticking it on there. And I'm just going to keep on going until I fill this up. Now, of course, once I get to this area, I might decide to switch colors. So we're going to just pretend that I have that all filled out. Oh, another thing I should mention too, just be careful. A lot of times these like to stick to each other, so always be careful that you're only grabbing one and not two or three, because sometimes they want to have two or three stuck together. So whenever I want to start a new color, just same thing. I'm going to go ahead and start, yep, you can see here's like 3 of them wanting to stick together. So I always just do a double check for that before I start to wrap it around the eraser end of my pencil. There we go. I'm going to do the potted portion of this art, this kind of sandy color, but I might do like a stripe in it. We'll have to see. But from here on out, it's really just much of the same. I'm going to just keep on adding whatever color into each space until I've finished my entire piece. And then, of course, once you are done, don't forget to come back into the slides and into the Art Hall of Fame. If I click on that at the bottom, and I'm going to come on into the Hall of Fame to share my artwork, I'm going to just scroll on down here, and then I'm going to claim my frame by putting in my name there. And then to get your picture in there, it's as simple as going to Insert, Image, and Camera. It'll pop up a camera on your Chromebook, and then we just, well, I would want this finished first, wouldn't I? But I would hold that up to the camera, make sure that the lighting's good, and take that picture. It'll automatically go in there, and of course you can adjust it if needed, but it literally takes just a few seconds. So it's a great way for us to get to share with each other, and I cannot wait to see what you all create. Have a great rest of your day.